Oh boy. I think we're at about 99% capacity of that dog having a confirmed death flag. It's still possible the dog pulls through, and I've been half joking every time I bring up the fact that I think that dog's not gonna make it. The main reason I would bring it up, I was like, well, they are in a dangerous situation, and if one of these characters has a chance of dying, it's gonna be the dog, because media loves the animal deaths for the extra added sting. Even before the zombie stuff, it was looking a little spicy. The throwing up isn't anything really to worry about, but it's kind of like, haha, see, the dog's sick, isn't it kind of funny up they're trying to make us worried? And then we learned that the dog's 13 to 14 years old. Now, sure, dogs can still last a bit longer than that, but all the weird stuff they're eating, the danger they're in, this dog was looking a little sus by that point. But it's the moment with the zombies. Now, here's the thing. In certain zombie universes, dogs can eat zombie flesh all they want. In Walking Dead, dogs can eat zombie flesh and be just fine. But if a human does it, that's when they get infected and die. But the thing is you can't, in the same episode that you're bringing up these death flags feeling real sus, have the dog at one point. Now, sure, you may want to say, what are you talking about? The dog refused the meat at the end. When this dog saved Shizuru's life, he bit into the arm, and the blood and flesh got into his system. Will that kill the dog? I have no idea. Could the pooch turn into a zombie dog that remains conscious? Sure, but you can't with a straight face tell me these death flags almost all but guaranteed, because there's a small glimmer of hope the dog succeeds, but at this point, it's no longer the, haha, the dog may not make it. It's like, oh, the dog ain't making it, and if the dog does make it, that's going to be the real shocker. Easily the best episode of Train to the End of the World. I remain to have the opinion that this is the best anime of the season. I may enjoy certain shows more, but this, in my opinion, is the strongest show that I've seen so far this year, and I'll die on that hill. Full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full link of thought to this or any of these wonderful episodes. It's going to be over there if you're interested. So, this was an incredible episode. And it seems like it is going to go down on the formula that I was expecting, which I mentioned last week, which is they have a lot of stops along the way, but there's only going to be a handful of stops that they really focus on. The rest will be either just seen quickly in a montage in passing or just skipped altogether. And I think that's totally fine. The meat and potatoes is the story of trying to find Yoka, their friend, who for some reason left for Ikebukuro, and I didn't even think about it until they brought up in this episode. Every time we saw flashbacks with her, she was a very timid girl. She doesn't feel like someone who would go on a adventure by herself. And in this episode, they completely flipped my opinion on Shizuru's character. Now, do I think she's the worst person in existence? No. But on a personal level, I despise people who have this way of looking at life. And the hindsight was there, right? Hindsight's 2020. And she has been the type of person who constantly would, like, refuse to accept things like, hey, I didn't ask you to come. And it was always a deflection, right? But it wasn't that bad. It got bad this episode. So we learned why Yoka separated. They had a fight. And whether or not you have someone in your life, and usually it's a family member that you can't escape from. Unfortunately, a lot of people usually have a parent that's like this, or, just someone close to them that they do care for, but they always put them down. Like, hey, I got into Harvard. Oh, great. How are you going to pay that off? It's like, no, you say, congratulations. I'm sure that was hard. Yeah, but how are you going to pay that student loan off? That type of personality is just toxic. There's no other way to put it. And while, yes, did she mean to hurt her? And potentially could some of that be that she was scared her friend was going to leave her shitty little town and they may not be as close? Potentially. But this girl's like, hey, I have this big dream of studying the stars or going to those, just extraordinary dreams. Even if you deep down think they're not realistic, she has a passion and she's basically like, how you going to get a job? Sounds a little hard for someone from us. You probably shouldn't shoot that high. It's like, she wasn't my favorite out of the group that we were following by any stretch, but I didn't really hate her character. I was like, okay, she kind of says some sus things, but she's not the worst ever. I don't like her personality at all after this episode. Like, that was some bitch energy. There's no other way to put it. I think the only way you defend this energy is if you relate to what she was saying, and it's like, it's just, sometimes people do shoot for the stars a little too much, and you do need to be kind, being like, hey, are you sure? But if they're saying that this is what I want to do, it's their life to succeed and fail at. And the fact that throughout this show, she's constantly been like, I didn't ask you to come. It's like, you say thank you. You say, thank you for not making me do this well, I didn't ask for your help. This is how you lose friends. And the fact that they're starting to call her out, like, hey, even if you didn't directly, we are here. And it's like, okay, even if you didn't directly make her run away, you are responsible for part of that. And it's like all about this ownership. And it's really good character writing. Makes a lot of sense of why she was in a big city all by herself after seemingly throughout all the flashbacks being a pretty introverted person. The idea of all this is incredible writing, but it's infuriating because this is like one of my least favorite types of personalities. I cut people out real quick if they have that attitude around me. Like, I do not tolerate that type of person. But it makes for some good drama. And I do think we're going to get some good characterization with her, and I think she's slowly but surely going to, you know, figure out how to be nicer. I mean, when the dog initially tagged along, I didn't ask you to come, but... And I'm just like... There was one shot in this episode when she passed. It was like a car and they're on the railroad. I was like, oh, this kind of feels like Walking Dead, and... lo and behold, it was Walking Dead. At least one of the zombies apparently can talk like a normal person. She puts Febreze on rotting corpses, which... no. That's gonna make it smell even worse. Like, get some baking soda powder, something, you know, just anything's better than that. And, I don't know, like, this is such a creative show, and it still feels structured. It doesn't feel like they're just throwing wild ideas and hoping to say, ooh, did you see that coming? No, it's like, no, this feels like a story with a beginning, middle, and end. We have reached the middle, and this was a great point for the characterization and why things happen with the characters. They do get you worried with the death flag, of course. The pooch could be alright, but even if it is alright, he ain't lasting too much longer, if we're being frank. And then you add in just everything with the creativity of how every stop is different. It's such a good episode. And as I said very early on, I think it was around episode 2 or 3, this would either be the best or worst show of the season. Because with how much it's trying to do, one wrong move, it trips and it snowballs into a giant mess. But these crazy mofos are sprinting up Mount Everest. And somehow they ain't slipping and sliding. This is good. Worrisome. A little infuriating with one of the characters, but this is how you know you have some great writing on your hands. Now, of course, those are my feelings. Let me know what you thought. We are now officially halfway through this show. What are you thinking? What do you want to see? I mean, we kind of have an idea already of where all the stops are going to take us between, like, openings and maps and everything, but what are you thinking, and what do you want to see happen with the zombie girl with the freaking Febreze? Like, who does that? Like, it's just going to smell worse, but she's a zombie. I can't falter, I guess. But whatever you're feeling, let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you can know if I went upload more. And like I mentioned, got those full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alrighty, so today we have Sage Narf, Andre Cannon, Reet Chill, Christoph Stenswoski, JMW, Child, and Sutney Chogman. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.